Hey everyone, I thought what I would do is show you how you can search for some interesting podcasts, and then also once you find a podcast, you can embed it in your online class in any content editor. So that means you can embed it in an assignment, a page, a quiz, and a discussion. All right, so let's get started. So what I used was Listen Notes because it is a podcast search engine, and I didn't have to subscribe in order to embed any of the podcasts, playlists, or episodes. So in the past, I've been listening to Bonnie from Teaching in Higher Ed. She's wonderful, and that's why I actually featured her in here. So what I did is I'm over here in Listen Notes, and because I know the podcast, I typed in Teaching in Higher Ed. Notice I didn't even have to log in to do that, and then I can search. But I could put a phrase or a topic, or if I knew someone's name that had a podcast, in the case of Bonnie's, I could put her name in. But once I search for that, you'll see what comes up. Actually, other podcasts in that category come up. So I know I can just check things out, and I can just listen to just a few minutes to see if this is something that I would like. So now notice there's share, there's save, and this little menu drops down and I can download or create a clip. I'm not sure what create a clip is because I guess create a clip of this episode. Maybe that means you can cut out a clip of that episode. I haven't used that feature before, so that might be interesting. So again, this is a podcast, a single podcast. Now, if I wanted to go into her podcast, the playlist, I could click on that in Teaching in Higher Ed and notice that all her past podcasts are listed. And then at the top of her podcast, you notice there's the embed code. So you saw how I could copy one episode, but if I wanted to embed her podcast list of all her episodes, I could click on embed code, select the text, do my Control C or right click to copy, and then I can go over to my Canvas course and I can embed it in any content editor, and I'll show you how to do that. I'm going to open up an assignment for this. So I could name my assignment, or again, a content page. You can create this or embed this podcast to around an assignment, or you can just feature it in a discussion, a quiz, a page, anywhere that you have this content editor. Now, the great thing about it right now is this new rich content editor has this nice little cloud icon. And it is for embed code. So I can come here and do Control V and I can embed that code. And there it is, right there in my content. In this case, it's in my text area. So I just want to go over that again, because what we used to have to do, and we'd have our text in there, and then we'd use this embed code here, and then we would try to place it because we all, a lot of times we were trying to embed something and we already had the text in, maybe our overview, our instructions, and our resources. But Canvas, with this new rich content editor, has made it so much more easier. So as long as you have a blinking cursor somewhere, blink, blink, come over here to the cloud icon, and if you don't see it, it may be under More, and then you can do your copy, paste. Well, it would be paste in there, and there it is. And now your students can enjoy Teaching in Higher Ed by Bonnie Stackawak. I'm not sure how to pronounce her last name. And then let me save this because I want to show you how this works. So if I select the next one, oops, I didn't, I need to do something else. I need to have an assignment name. Isn't it nice that Canvas reminds us and I can save and publish, and that way I can look as a student view as well. Okay, so I can subscribe, I can still share, but once you select this particular podcast, it's going to show up here at the top, and then you can play it. And I really think you're going to like Bonnie. She has a very kind and gentle voice. She has different guest speakers. Just try out, if nothing else, some of her podcast topics. It's wonderful. And that's about it. So very easy. I'll just do a little recap. So I can search for episodes. I can search, just, try to search for some of the podcast lists that you might want to be involved in and listen to. You can share, so you can actually share, and this is the URL for an episode, so it isn't necessarily the embed code, but right below it I can copy this and I can go back to my assignment and edit, and then this is going to be just one episode. It's not going to be the podcast playlist. Go to my little cloud icon, Control V for paste, or if you right click and paste, and then there's just one episode. So you will see an example of that when you explore TikTok, because I do have an episode from a different podcaster about TikTok. But see how nice that is? So you could find, and I might even do that in the discussion, because some of these podcasts I have used in the past to put in a discussion, and then everybody could discuss it. So I might still do that. All right, thanks everyone. Let me know what you think and if you have any questions. Appreciate your time.